Let's bring in syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer on the state of the race. Charles, good to see you in New York.
Good to be here.
Let's put up the electoral scorecard. We've moved some states, and we are seeing a different picture on the national level with our poll, Clinton up 4. But a lot of these states are getting pretty tight, including Pennsylvania that was very tight. Arizona moved to lean Republican, Iowa lean Republican, Nevada lean Democrat, North Carolina a flat toss-up, and Utah lean Republican. But a lot of these states are very tight. Your thoughts of where we are with just hours to go?
I would add to that list Michigan, which has got to be tight, or you wouldn't have all the principles in the two campaigns in a state that traditionally has been Democratic for so long. Look, you could theoretically look at all these states, which are extremely tight, and see them going either way, and if the majority go to Trump, he wins. However, I think I'm a believer in the national polls, even though they don't determine what the outcome is. But what they do tell you is the momentum overall. If you look at the Fox polls specifically, you get the race was wide open, then it got very narrow, it closed, and now it appears as if Hillary's momentum, she had been going way down. It looks as if she stabilized over the weekend, and now, if anything, has had a slight recovery. If that is so, then that would mean that Trump, who was rising, or had he continued to rise that way and close the gap, could have passed her, is likely, not in any way probably, but likely, to have fallen short. So that's how I would read the national polls. But again, you could run the states any way you want. They are all so close that it's theoretically possible they all go one way. But it's likely that they go half and half, in which case a Republican would not have enough.
Yeah. Last time I talked to Mr. Trump in an interview, I said, understanding that you have a lot of optimism, that you believe that you're going to win. If you don't win, I asked at the end of the interview, what happens to Donald Trump? Does he go back to business? Does he lead a movement? Take a listen.
This has been one of the most incredible parts of my life. I mean, there's never been anything like this. I've won 42 states. I got the most votes in the history of the Republican primary system. And most importantly, you look at the movement where they talk stampede. We can't have any more people, sir, because of stampede. I really think it is such a hard question because I love these people. These people are amazing people. These are the people that built this country. These are amazing people. So I would say that I will give you that answer maybe on the 9th. But I think what's going to happen, I think you're going to have an upset, if you call it an upset, because as you know, we're doing very well in the polls.
And right now he's speaking in Pennsylvania, which is a traditionally blue state, and there you see him there. Your thoughts, is Donald Trump now the de facto leader of the Republican Party no matter what happens?
I think he is. This is not a Michael Dukakis. Let's assume he loses. Look, he can win. But let's assume he loses. He's not a Michael Dukakis. He's not walking away. He's not a Bob Dole who's going to retire. This is a man who, as he says, created a movement out of nothing. He basically fashioned a populist faction in the Republican Party, took over the party, at least in this cycle, and then the question will be, is he going to walk away and go back and become a businessman? I doubt it. It's very hard to do. And the fact is he will be the power broker. I see the party as sort of splitting in two, at least in theory. The populist element that he has now created and mobilized, winning more Republican votes in the primaries than any candidate in history. He will have won at least 40%, somewhere in the 40s, of the national electorate. Yes, he's a force. The other side, I think, will be led by Paul Ryan, representing the traditional party, the Reaganite party, the wonkish party, programmatic party, and conservative party, which is different from populism. And if Trump wants, which I think he will have created something. Why will he leave it behind? He leads that faction and can become the de facto leader. I think the test is going to be, can he bring down Paul Ryan, who will be, if Trump loses, will be scapegoated to some extent in the loss. and will be the leader of the rival faction. If he's able to get behind a movement to deny Ryan the speakership, he becomes a de facto leader and the force in the party for the next years while they're in the wilderness, if that's the outcome.
Charles, as always, thank you. It's going to be interesting either way.